Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm joined by Shanae Dennis, freelance journalist for the BBC and The Voice. Shanae, a very warm welcome to you. How are you doing? What's the past year been like for you? And can you tell us a bit about yourself as well?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. My name is Shanae Dennis. I'm a freelance journalist and I'm also a government policy advisor. Um, what has the past year been like for me? Well, I'm also a mother to an 8-year-old as well, and an ambassador for a charity called the Young Women Trust. So I think at the start of the last year, I was homeschooling and working full time. So that was a bit crazy and hectic. I think this year's been really it's been a difficult one with the pandemic and the easing and the on and off with restrictions, etc. But I think it's been a really good year to reflect, a really good year to start new routines and just to kind of get back to doing some of the stuff that I love. Like I've been able to start the column, Making Black Love Last. That started at the start of this year. So with working from home and some of, the social aspects quieting down, it's given me a real chance to realign and focus on some of the stuff I've always wanted to do for work.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible just to hear about the homeschooling. We know what it's been like for many parents. It's been difficult having to quickly learn about all the different subjects and trying to educate your children. But yes, with your son, I can imagine that's been quite an adventure as well. Now, you spoke about this new column that you're writing. Tell us a bit about that. And is that for The Voice as well, is it?
Yeah, so Making Black Love Last is a column that I do for The Voice. It comes out every Saturday. You can find it on The Voice's Instagram or on Twitter, or also on their website as well. Yeah, so why we wanted to start Making Black Love Last. So it kind of was a random one. So it was having a pitch meeting about stuff and projects that everyone would want to take on for the year, especially for their freelancers. And then there was a discussion about how since Black Lives Matter, how like Black love was brought into the equation with campaigns such as like Black Love Is, and also the recent interest and I say increase in like seeing like hashtag Black Love on Twitter and stuff, which is great to see. But then we also want it to be like Black love isn't a new thing. It's not this new nuanced thing. Black people have been loving each other, all different types of love, whether it's women loving women or men loving men, or there's been all different forms of Black love that have been existing for ages. And we just kind of wanted to show that. We wanted to show that Black love is here. It does last. I come from a two-parent household. I'm from Jamaican heritage. My grandparents have been together for like 60 years. So we wanted to kind of pull out some of that and show people that Black love lasts, and also learn lessons from people who have been doing it for longer than maybe myself or others, and learn what their advice is and how they make Black love last.
Incredible. Tell me about the articles that stood out for you and the ones where you've had to really reflect on and say, wow, that was incredible.
Oh, which ones have been? I don't know. All the couples have been really, really good. Like I've learned so much from so many of my couples. I would say Raf and Chantel, I really like them. They really spoke about a lot of stuff that I think are very current. Raf is from a traditional African household, Chanel's Jamaican, and Chanel's also, Chantel, sorry, was also a single mother. So her going into that situation, some of the prejudices that she had to face, and just also just seeing how Raf just stick up for her, stood by his woman. I would say that was a really powerful story. And most recently, I did my pastors last week. Pastor Tim and Minister Ajay Ramsey, they were great, but I've always known their bond and connection, and just to see that they've been together since they're like 17 and now they're like grandparents together, and just all of the different challenges that they've been, and just also learning from them about grace and how much grace is important to making any relationship work. I think that was really really, really powerful. And also about transparency. I think one thing that's a recurring theme is about finances, and how finances can become a bone of contention in relationships, and they don't have to be. I think he was very clear on that. It's not like a you and I type situation, or yours and mine. This is ours, and we're building together. And I think especially I'm a big believer in building generational wealth, especially for the Black community. And I think that whole R concept and we're not, you know, we don't have to fight to hold on to things anymore. We don't have to be in that same way protected. And I get where those feelings come from, considering the way that black people have been dealt with by society. But when you find love, to be able to feel safe enough to be like, this is us, we're building, and I no longer would have to be so protective of just the mine and my stuff. I would say Tolu and Yemi, so Don't Jealous Me, they had me in stitches. Like, actually, you know, didn't hear this from me, but I think Yemi is a real comedian. Tolu is hilarious as well, but Yemi's energy and just like her source, like the way that she generally is, like she's very confident and it comes across, and that she's just a beautiful person inside and out, I would definitely say.
So,
and then of course, we like Mrs. Roberts, or the Roberts.
Yeah.
I think what I really loved about their story, about the Roberts family, was their wedding and how they had a picnic and how they kind of broke down all of the social norms around having to show off or have this big dining experience at your wedding. They had a picnic for their wedding reception. Everyone brought their own food, and then it just created conversation. Everyone started bonding. I think that, yeah, I'll probably say that was the best.
So
not the best one, sorry, but I mean the best, like
the best ones, yeah, definitely.
One of the, like, some of the best ones, and just I would say it was the best.
Incredible. So they're all very unique, and each one of them have got their own special stories that means something to you. Now, tell us about your career in journalism, and is this something that you always knew you wanted to do?
You know, I was actually thinking about this the other day. So I think I did know I wanted to do something in the media. I remember studying media as one of my GCSEs, and I did really well. And I wanted to go and do it as an A-level after getting an A-star at GCSE. And then my mom was like, my parents were like, because I did really well on science and maths, they were like, no, do science and maths, you know. Media is not something to focus on now. And I remember getting advice from someone him being like, you know, go and get your science degree. You've got a clear, like, I was really good at science. It's like, go and do your degree in science, and then you can always do media afterwards. You could do communication through science, but you'll have a strong degree to fall back on. And I still do believe in that advice, to be fair, because it allows me to do some of the freelance work, because government money is good and consistent. So I have that as a base, and then I can freelance, say what comes and goes in that way. But yeah, so I did a degree in biomedical chemistry and then a master's in public health. I worked in clinical research for a couple of years. And then I just started writing. I got approached by, because I worked with the Young Women's Trust, it was Huffington Post actually. They wanted me to write about, I had an argument with David Cameron on national TV. It was around the Brexit debate. And after that, I got some media coverage. And then one of the people from the charity was like to me, why don't you write yourself rather than being interviewed? You write really well. And then I wrote about my experience going back and forth with David Cameron. And then from there, there was further interest. So I did a couple of things for Huffington Post. And then it just sort of picked up from there. It's something I kind of fell into, because everybody has a story to tell. The way you, like when people say I'm not into politics, because a lot of my stuff is about inequality, health, social inequalities, economic injustices, stuff like that. But we're all very political. From when you're alive and you have an opinion on something, that's political. So your view and opinion on anything is something that can be shared. So I would say to anybody who wants to get into journalism, start writing or start vlogging and start putting yourself out there, start writing pictures. I worked on a BBC project called In Plain Sight. And that literally is like what the title suggests, stories that are happening in plain sight that aren't being covered. Now, what's in plain sight to you is different from what's in plain sight to me. So it was all about bringing different perspectives from a range of people. So if you want to get into journalism, I would say just start writing about what's around you, what's into your daily day. What do you feel that's not right, or why is that way? When those things that happen in your life that make you pose a question are normally, those are your ends.
Yeah, great answer there. Thank you for sharing that with us. What do you hope to achieve in the future? What's the goals?
The goals for me, well, I have an 8-year-old, so I'm freelancing now because that works really best. Works good for him. But I want to merge my love for science and health and journalism. So I want to do more stuff around global stories and global health. I think before the pandemic, I was lucky enough to sneak away to South Africa just like February 2020. And that was great. So doing more work within the continent, doing more work in the Caribbean, doing more reporting of that fashion. I hope it doesn't seem like, I can't see it right now with all of these amber green lists and all these restrictions around traveling, but definitely to be more of an international reporter is something that I want to do as my son gets older and as Boris starts to let us out more.
Indeed, that's what we're all waiting for, isn't it? To be released and be able to try and get back to some sort of normality. So, it's been an absolute joy just sitting here talking with you. There'll be lots of people who want to connect with you. Are you on social media?
I am. So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same handle. It's at Shanae Dennis. That's SHANAE and Dennis of the double N. So at Shanae Dennis _.
Shanae, it's been an absolute joy hearing your story from someone who believes in themselves, who was given the fantastic foundation from the support of your parents, who just believed in what was right and, challenged the Prime Minister, and opportunities presented themselves through that. Today, you're doing some great work with policy and also with what you do for The Voice newspaper and your freelance journalism work. And it goes to show that if you set your mind to something, you can indeed do it. And you've proved that for us. Shanae, again, a very, very huge thank you for your company here today. Thank you.
No problem. I just wanted to end by saying also I had a child at 19. I got pregnant at 19, had a child by 20. So there you go. I had a child in the middle of uni, took a couple of months off, went back, graduated, and I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm going to admit I do have privileges. My mum and dad are amazing support. His dad's parents are amazing support, and his dad's family as well. So I'm very well supported, but it's possible. I had a child at 20, and here I am at 28 with an 8-year-old, freelance journalist, working for government. So yeah. Anything that you think is a barrier, you can jump over it.
That's the greatest achievement, that young man. That's the greatest one of all the achievements. So again, congratulations. Thank you so much for your company.
Thank you for having me.